What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Scyushi, and today we're going to be doing a very special video. This is more so for your own education, because I know that there is a lot of Genshin Impact clickbait out there, and it's very, very misleading, especially when certain characters that come out more recently, Dehya, that are just frankly really, really bad characters with terrible balancing, and you're still seeing these Genshin Impact clickbaiters advertising this character as if they're really, really good. Now, how do they benefit from this? Well, for starters, a lot of big time Genshin people are actually being sponsored by Genshin. So they keep playing the game because they get sponsored or they get perks or what have you. But the most obvious reason is just because it gets them the views. And then if you check any of these scumbags' description, it's literally packed full of all of their merchandise and stuff. I'm not specifically trying to have this video as an attack on them or anything like that. No channel specifically comes to mind. It's just something that I want you guys and gals to watch out for if you plan on spending money on a character in Genshin Impact. So the first thing to watch out for is the team. Do they have Kazuha? Do they have Mona? And do they have Bennett in their party? Because all of these are going to end up making it extremely obvious that they're using certain tricks to boost up the damage of the character that they're using. On top of all of that, make sure that you pay attention to the bottom of their screen by their health bar, because if you see a little sword icon and so on and so forth, that means that they're also using food items in addition to the buffs that they get from these other characters. The main reason why you might see people using Kazuha is because of his passive talent. So upon triggering any swirl reaction, Kazuha will grant his party members a 0.4% elemental damage bonus, the element absorbed by swirl, for every point of elemental mastery he has for 8 seconds. Bonuses for different elements obtained through this method can coexist. With Mona, almost everybody is going to end up using the 3-star book Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers because of the refinement passive buff, which is when switching characters, the new characters taking the field have their attack increased by 48% for 10 seconds. They'll also focus on using Mona's ultimate ability, which ends up having the following properties. So it applies an omen to the opponent, which gives a damage bonus and increases the damage of the attack that causes it. Now, I don't have this talent completely maxed out, but at level 10, it will actually give a 60% bonus to your damage. And then, of course, one of the most obvious is Bennett's ultimate, which I actually got him C6 just as a joke because I don't like using all of this clickbait boosted damage stuff. But basically, using his ultimate makes it so that if the health of the character within the party is higher than 70%, they gain an attack bonus that is based off of Bennett's attack. As you can see, even at talent level 8, this is still going to end up being a 90% attack bonus ratio. And the funny thing is that if you ended up having higher constellations for him, you can actually get this to level 15, which will have 133% attack bonus. Another thing to watch out for is, do they end up showing the attributes of the character? And if they do they look like there's something reasonable to obtain? So this, I would say, is a slightly above average stats for Kazuha because I got lucky with my artifacts. The thing is, a lot of these clickbaiters will actually purposefully have their crit rate at the lowest possible value to increase the output of their damage, and then they'll just record themselves fighting a boss over and over again until that one lucky time where all the stars align and they get crits. And then they end up showing that off in their video as if that's the damage showcase. And then the food items that you're going to see people use is Adeptus Temptation, which boosts attack and crit rate for 300 seconds. And the Jade Parcels, which also ends up boosting your attack and your crit rate. There might even be some other foods that they use. Frankly speaking, I have never touched the food items in this game ever because I just never really cared. The thing is, there are all sorts of different food buffs that you can end up using, and a lot of them will actually stack on top of each other. And with that, hopefully you can see the telltale signs in other Genshin clickbaiters. Most of all, it's just looking for the party on the right and then seeing the food buffs at the bottom of the screen. Anytime I would see those immediately on a Reddit post where someone's trying to highlight the damage of a new character, I would just click off of it because I know that that is false damage. The argument could be said that yes, that character is still technically dealing that amount of damage, but it is in a very extreme and ideal situation. The point is, if you're doing Spiral Abyss or even fighting enemies in max world level, you're probably not going to bother using food items and wouldn't bother using all of the ultimate abilities. Generally speaking, I try to build my characters around just straight raw damage. Like my Zhongli's Meteor can deal 100k without food items or any of the bonuses that I talked about today. Most of all, I want this video to be out there so that you know what you're getting into and so that you don't get tricked into buying the new flashy fancy character. You see, I've spent an overabundance on Genshin Impact to get both C6 Zhongli and C6 Kazuha. And as much as I try to tell myself that I don't regret it, because obviously these were great characters and they're my favorite characters in the game, since then I have gone completely free to play because of the fact that it doesn't really make a difference how much money you spend on this game if you're already killing everything. And unfortunately, I just kind of had to learn the hard way that they are never going to make a proper end game that is going to be challenging for Genshin players outside of Spiral Abyss, which isn't really challenging as much as it is just annoying.